What's up, guys? Koma here. So, it's August 14th. This means it is Splitgate Alpha Day. And with that in mind, we finally get our glimpse at realistically what Splitgate is. So this section right here will be me covering everything you need to know about the factions and the guns and the whole 9 yards. So right now, we're in this menu. Apparently, this is not final. I don't know if this menu is final. I don't know if this is how any of this is final. But right off the bat, I do want to let you guys know that you can register for the alpha August 21st down here at the bottom. You can't see my crosshair or my mouse. But that's fine. Maybe if I have this, there you go. You can see it moving down here. Basically, August 21st through August 25th will be the next alpha. You can go to the Steam page if you're on PC and request out access. Therefore, you have an opportunity and a chance to play the next alpha. So, moving on into loadouts, let's cover the factions and everything. So, Aeros, of course, has the movement speed and reload boost ability called Rush, and it also gives you a small health boost. Basically, self-explanatory, and their team trait is Taskmaster, faster ability cooldown for you and your teammates. Pretty much almost a must on every team. Generally, every team is going to have one Aeros, one Meridian, and one Sabrask, but realistically, you don't need Sabrask, and I'll talk about that later on in the video. So Meridian has, of course, the hyper sight, which reveals enemies through walls. This does have a range, or it's very limited on where you look. I haven't really played around with it too much in terms of trying to figure out how hyper sight works, but there is some way to, make it work. And then a team trait, of course, being wellness, which means faster health regeneration for you and your teammates. And then moving on to Sabrask, with the smart wall, a transparent barrier that you can shoot through, but the enemy cannot. And keep in mind, this works both ways, so you can use your smart wall in the opposite direction as well. And your team trait is stockpile, which spawn in with extra reserve ammo for you and your teammates. Now, each faction has their own unique set of characters, weapons, equipment, and their little gear here, these perks. So going into weapons specifically, Aeros has the Cadence Carbine, the Sprinter SMG, and the Tempo Assault Rifle, moving into the Blink pistol. So it's worth noting that these are the little upgrades or attachments that you can place onto your gun. So you have ones that maybe specifically affect damage or, have better range. And then you can have extended mag, fast map, and grip. Now, when it comes down to weapons such as the tempo and the difference between the grip and something like the laser sight, the grip will help your vertical recoil, but the laser sight will tighten your spread. This is simply because in the gameplay there is no aim down sights. It's simply all hip fire. Sometimes you'll have guns that might have more like a zoom, but realistically it doesn't change much about your guns like aim assist or red reticle range or anything of that sorts. So these are very minor buffs. By no means are they game-changing, I think. It's realistically the way that you use them in contingent with the full kit. So going on with the pistol, of course, pistol has very few amounts of things here. So you have fast mag, barrel extension, laser sight. Going on to their equipment, we now have a stem shot, which we actually saw in the trailer, and we actually have the shock disc. Shock disc is a little funky, but when you throw it, it can bounce off surfaces, and when it bounces, it in fact does do that stun effect. I've had it close portals once, and then I haven't really used it for closing portals since then, since they've changed a lot gameplay-wise, which I'll get into that later on in the video. And then their perks includes rapid recharge, which recharges equipment faster, sprint reload, and then where you could just sprint while reloading. Super fit, which reduces the cooldown for Aeros Rush, which is their main ability, and faster sprint for hustle, so you can speed around as much as you want. Going on to Meridian, we have FaZe and Mira, which FaZe was indeed also in the cinematic trailer, which I covered alongside Mira. They were on opposite teams. So we have Quantum, which is realistically this game's current only battle rifle, which is crazy, by the way. I love this rifle. And then we have the Synapse assault rifle, and then we have the Charger shotgun. And I want to say I was correct on this being a shotgun. By no means, it does not fire like a shotgun, but it is a shotgun in its own way. So it is worth noting with shotguns, they do have their own unique attachments sometimes, such as melee knuckles, which reduces the time between melee attacks. So it's all about allowing you to have more access to your melee. This is my Quantum, and I typically run it with Burst and Impact. So some really fun time there. Which the burst rifles so far have a very unique attachment, which includes Bullet Burst, where it says take your BR to the next level with an action enhancement for faster consecutive bursts. So there's a shorter cooldown between the bursts between rounds. And then of course we have the little Helios pistol, which we actually got to see in the I think in the gameplay trailer and in the cinematic trailer. This is the one she uses. Then we have the Time Dome, which is the Time Dome we see Mira use in the cinematic trailer. This thing is crazy because when you throw it down, time is sped up for you, but slowed down for enemies. So if you're in it, your fire rate, reload, and movement speed all gets increased. But if an enemy steps into it, I think it's their movement speed, and I would assume their fire rate is all slowed down for you to have more better survivability. And then you have your health grenade, which simply, if anyone has played Halo Infinite before, this is simply the what's it called? The medic field. You throw down the medic field, and it'll give you a portion of shields over time. But instead, this gives health over time. Gives a portion of health. Next, they also get access to rapid recharge. I believe every faction gets access to rapid recharge, but they have a unique thing here called Tracker, which people you shoot are briefly marked on the minimap for you and your teammates, which has a unique icon over every other perk in the game so far. Going on into the next one, which has unblinking, shorter cooldown for Meridian Hypersight, and an eye for equipment, highlight enemy equipment and portals even through walls. So you can see pretty much anything that someone throws down and can utilize. And then going on into probably the weakest for me, which is Sabrask. Sabrask is consistent currently of Rhinoc and Frey, of the two different characters. For the weapons, we have the Trailblazer assault rifle, the Warden carbine, and the Plow shotgun. So yes, the Plow shotgun is a primary weapon. I haven't used it. I don't really care much for Sabrask, but it's there and also has that melee mod for like Mira's did. And of course, we have the Slinger pistol, which I think is probably the best weapon in the Sabrask kit. I'm not even going to lie with you. All right, absolute random cut, but I got a call. Anyway, going on from the Slinger pistol, which I still think is the best gun in the Sabrask kit, we have the smoke grenade, which is actually brand new. We never got to see this until today, which it's almost like the only way I can describe the smoke effect is almost like Valorant. That's really the only way I can kind of explain it. And then, of course, they have the sticky grenade, which reminds me of some weird World War II, like German nade or something. And of course, we have rapid recharge, ammo recycle, which gets additional reserve ammo on kills, which is the complete unique perk for Sabrask. And the rapid deployment for Sabrask smart wall cooldown reduction, and then the heavy punch, where it does increased melee damage. Now, supposedly with Sabrask, you can specifically 2 melee hits. But outside of Sabrask, you cannot. But you can still momentum kill with enough momentum, because thankfully, my friend Phoenix has actually managed to do that. So by now, I would assume that it's getting close to the end, and I'm sure he's probably going to upload some content as well, so who knows. I would keep out an eye out for the Splitgate promotional channel for many people doing content on Splitgate 2. What's up, guys? Koma here. And so this is the follow-up. This is the post-commentary of my live commentary that I did showcasing mostly everything y'all we got to see via the Splitgate closed alpha playtest, which again, there will be a more opened up opportunity to play the game for a public starting August 21st to the 25th. Make sure you're going to the steep page to opt in. Don't remember if I said that in the video beforehand, but I think I did, so there it is again. Anyway, let's get on to kind of diving into what, problems some of the game actually gave me. More in line to some of the changes they've done and how they've really altered the game thanks to the second game. And realistically, I want to start with the movement. We saw sliding for the first time. I know sliding was a huge Splitgate 1 want for a lot of people. And while it has its opportunities, I don't think sliding really made that much of an impact. Sure, you can, challenge corners and doorways with sliding, and you could slide down ramps and carry a little bit of your momentum, but I never found a huge opportunity to utilize that. Granted, there could be definitely more maps in the future that could, have larger slides and the whole 9 yards. So, not sure how that's going to affect the the game after any of this. I've had issues with trying to cancel reloads with sprint. In some games such as Call of Duty, you could cancel reload animations with sprint, but I feel like I couldn't do that in Splitgate 2. Now, I don't know if that's a creative choice, as in they did that for balancing reasons, as Aeros is the only one that can actually reload while sprinting. If you have a specific perk on, I believe. So there's that. So I don't know. I just had times with my movement kind of stuttering a little bit. Granted, that definitely could be connectivity wise. I know my internet is not the greatest. Even if you've seen my VOD, I'm kind of rubber banding everywhere. And after I stopped streaming and I played for a little bit longer, that kind of cleared up. Not heavily though. Onto portaling. I think the portaling has greatly been improved in this game. Granted, it's the same exact system that we have had from Splitgate 1. It's the same system. The only idea is they've really modernized it, but you can swap it back to the original version. You just do that by simply swapping your keybind over to being able to close left and right, but your main alternating portal key will always remain the same. Or no, I think it's actually you can create both left and right portals, and you can turn off your alternating key. You can straight up just unbind anything you don't want. But I do like the modernization system that they have really utilized in this new game, because it's simpler for newer players that really have come into this game not understanding what they're really getting into. And I think that the triple portaling still needs to be slowed down a little bit. But that's coming from someone who's mainly a Halo player, and I'll talk about that a bit more. So, with the factions, with their own unique weaponry, is there a meta? I think generally not. I think there's enough of a massive, here's plenty of things to play with. Here's these things that you can mess around with, and the whole 9 yards. Weapon-wise, I wouldn't quite say there's a meta. There's obviously more leaning towards some of the spray style weapons, such as AR and SMG. But I think that's in kind of the territory of the TTK, right? The time to kill in this game is vastly reduced compared to the TTK we saw in Splitgate 1. Now, for context, I don't know the optimal TTKs for Call of Duty, but they have to be roughly equal to or lower than Call of Duty's TTKs, meaning that you can die extremely quickly. In fact, the Sabrask carbine can actually one headshot, one body shot you, and actually kill you if you're really lucky enough with what's it called? The impact rounds or whatever they're called, where it actually increases your bullet body shot damage on the carbine. So that's crazy to think about. With that in mind, I don't think the meta is much of a problem as the TTK as a whole is the problem. Because I can melt people faster than they can sometimes turn around if I'm using like specific weaponry. The carbines are super strong. They're just super, super like difficult to use because if you miss a single shot, you're pretty much game from there. But the best weapon I found that seems to cook the most is the BR. So the BR can two burst, but there's a mod that allows it to reduce time between bursts, and that is generally kind of where I've found cooking people because Meridian has the time dome. You throw down time dome, and you seem to understand that once you throw down the time dome and you have like the rapid fire mod on, or I forget what it's called, something burst. You have this burst enhancement, and then you have your impact rounds that does more body shot, and you can just shred through people like it's fucking nothing. It is an insane rifle, especially on Meridian. Whether or not it'll be nerfed, I don't know. So we'll have to watch out for that. The TTK is just fast. This game is meant to be a very fast shooter because the way that they have set up everything is now round-based. For context, for the last time I covered the whole round-based thing, we only had Hot Zone. This time we've had Team Deathmatch, where Team Deathmatch is the first team to 15 kills wins a round, and it's best 3 out of 5. So you get 15 kills, you win the round. The enemy team gets 15 kills, they win the round, and it goes until one of the teams wins 3 rounds. And this TTK, I think, is a huge play in that, right? It's the idea of fast kills, fast games. That's all it is. So let's talk factions for a moment. I think the factions are probably some of the biggest worries about most people with the game, simply because when people saw factions and the abilities, a lot of people immediately thought, oh, it's a hero shooter. And understandably so, hero shooters are in a very weird spot right now as they seem to be the spotlight. Mainly because Overwatch doesn't seem to be doing well, so a lot of people think that, oh, games are going to rise up and take its spot. But I think this game falls more in line with something, say, like X-Defiant. X-Defiant specifically has their factions, and they have their faction abilities. Splitgate works very similarly. The only difference between X-Defiant is X-Defiant has every faction can use every weapon in the game. Meanwhile, in Splitgate 2, Aeros can only use Aeros, Sabrask can only use Sabrask, and Meridian can only use Meridian guns. And their equipment and their abilities and their sometimes a few of their gear perks are completely unique. So it realistically, you have options for these factions. There isn't like, one direct like linear way that you should be building or creating your loadout for gameplay. Now, unfortunately, this does end up leading to some differences in the faction, which I played Aeros, Meridian, and Sabrask. Sabrask the least, simply because I just think, unfortunately, this faction falls short. We did submit some feedback to a dev regarding the Sabrask team trait, that basically Sabrask team trait gives you a single round of extra ammo. That's it. That's all the Sabrask team trait does. Meanwhile, the Meridian team trait reduces health regeneration time, so you can regenerate faster. Your entire team can regenerate faster. And then Aeros increases your time, your cooldown between your abilities. And you start to understand that Sabrask, unfortunately, does not hold its own because the weapons might hit hard, but they're extremely slow. They're very close quarters related because they have a melee damage boost. It's just very, very annoying to try and play Sabrask because everything feels so sluggish on Sabrask. Their shield wall is great. I want to say the smoke grenade is like almost like Valorant. It's a little weird how that smoke grenade works. I think the grenades and their little sidearm is really great. I just don't think the primary weapon really hold up compared to the other factions. Um, it's really interesting. I have no clue on how any of Sabrask will hold up going forward into the next alpha and launch. So yeah, I think that's generally it. I've had a blast with a few of my friends playing the game. So shout out to Code Phoenix, Jbear, and River for joining up and playing some Splitgate 2 with me. Super fun times. Again, make sure that you're on PC, op into that alpha and go play some fucking games if you can, because holy fuck, you will have a blast. So if you guys found this video informative and you want to, see more of Splitgate 2, August 21st through the 25th, let me know. I'll post more gameplay. Hopefully we get more guns, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.